You know, we all realize the past with a paper-based system is slow. We receive certificates of veterinary inspection. We're pretty good at classifying those by state. Veterinarian writes the certificate in the state of origin. 2 copies come to our office. 1 goes with a shipment. 2 copies come to our office. We send 1 to the state of destination, and then we retain 1. We're good at storing paper. These boxes in the middle picture, that's how many certificates that we stored in about a year. Here's a real-life situation where we're looking for paraplasmosis horses that came to Colorado from 6 counties in Texas. Those are the boxes that had Texas horses in them, and we were able to find them. It just took us a little over 24 hours. So as far as being searchable, it's just not a very effective system. Where are we at today? If we receive a paper certificate, we turn it into an electronic document. We can scan that, and then we do data entry to capture those fields of information. So we've got now a system that we can query from, and we can put that into our software. And I think different states have different software systems. We all have the same goal, is to be able to retrieve that information in either periods of time, areas of the state, owners, a number of ways that we can ask for information. So I think this is kind of what we call paper light. So we all understand what the benefits are. We get real-time information. It's able to be loaded into data systems or into software systems that the state has so that we can search that information. They're legible. If you have veterinarians like myself who can't have typical doctor handwriting, and we've seen some that you could read about half of what was on a certificate. They're complete. They have data fields that are required to be completed in order for the certificate to be printed or forwarded on. I think this last bullet point to me is the most important. I think the public in the industry would expect that we would use modern technology. The idea that we're still doing business with a postage stamp and a pen and not having ability to retrieve information, you know, it's all about logistics. We see that shipping companies can track a package, but we can't track livestock. I think that in that day, if we were to explain that to somebody outside of King Soopers, I think they'd ask why. And I think that's a good question. We all realize it's been an arduous path. So, not specifically with certificates of veterinary inspection, but how does this all line up with the new Animal Disease Traceability Rule, the proposed rule that we expect to be out late summer or maybe the fall? One potential stumbling block that I see, many of our import requirements with states are not based on age. We realize that all cattle older than 18 months of age will be required to be individually listed by official individual animal identification numbers on certificates of veterinary inspection. Right now, Colorado, for import requirements, we have breeder requirements, we have feeder requirements. So I think there's going to need to be some adjustment in our state rules to line up with the federal rule. We also understand that sometimes states can have rules that are more stringent, but may not exactly comport with the Animal Disease Traceability Rule from the USDA. In the end, I think, what are we going to need to do? I think when the rule is a final rule, Colorado intends to promulgate a state rule that will line up with that. So what are some of the challenges and opportunities? To me, from a state animal health official perspective, any barrier of transfer of data from the ECVI into our software systems can be an impediment. Part of that, we hope, is mitigated by the data standards. So we hope that if we have the same data standards on one side that we want to receive in, that we can make that happen. And the way I think of this, and I think the trailer is a good analogy, I used to have a whole set of pigtails. If I had a 4-prong or a 6-prong plug on a trailer, I just had a number of different ways I could make those work. I know it's not this easy with data, but there's got to be a way to take ECVIs and get those into software systems. We have herds, we have a lot of state-based systems that work very well We just need to be able to try to keep that process relatively simple. The last thing that on this slide I want to talk about, states are challenged. We're all challenged funding-wise. But fees to transfer that information can be very prohibitive to us. If I go to our chief information officer and I let him know that I need to sign a contract with a half a dozen different companies in order to receive information, I'm going to have a hard time making that sell. So, hopefully, I think that's something that can be worked out. Challenges and opportunities. I see the first one as an opportunity. Training of veterinarians and livestock producers. To be able to take spreadsheets, information on spreadsheets, and get that to comport onto either electronic certificates of veterinary inspection or veterinary services test forms, brucellosis test charts, TB test charts. We've been doing some of that with the Mobile Information Management System, the MIMS, and we've had very good acceptance by veterinarians. I think they're amazed that when they can put 2,000 head of cattle onto these forms, it saves time. And we had one instance where we trained a veterinarian. He said, well, I planned on doing this for the next few hours, but since this is done, I guess I'm going to take my grandson fishing. It's a tool that's a wonderful tool. One of the challenges I think we all recognize is livestock auction markets, because we're not just talking about information transfer, and I think it'll be very helpful to market veterinarians and owners. We also understand that there's a business model, and it's different in every livestock auction market. We have to have people who understand how those systems work, and we need to work collaboratively with market owners to ensure that this system works well. The rules phased in, I think that's something that is a work in the future. Colorado, a number of other states have had electronic certificates of veterinary inspection where you have IT people with some savvy that want to try to work with something that can function in a similar capacity. The red fields are required data fields. This certificate was set up specifically for me. It's got information that can't be changed, my license number. I know we're going to learn some things through this process. We've been talking with our friends in USDA. How do you set this up? How do you have a username and a passcode? How do we as state animal health officials become a gatekeeper? How do we transfer this information to other states' databases? All those are questions that are yet to be answered. I think what veterinarians are looking for, whether it's a Colorado certificate or any other certificate, they're comfortable with something that looks like a CVI. They want something that's easy to use, that they can understand, and have the file be saved, email or print, and for us, again, those required fields ensure that we get data. So, in the end, where are we today? We all realize it's time to move forward, and I think that's already happening. I've seen more momentum in the last year, and some because we know there's a proposed rule, some of this because we were already headed that direction. We've been working on our eCVI in Colorado for about 18 months. We see some opportunities here. We've been using the MIMS transfer of information, and veterinarians have appreciated that. So what's the goal in the end? It's better traceability. It's better response to disease outbreaks. It's more efficient response to diseases that we've been dealing with for years. How many times do we have soft traces with a TB trace where we can't find a location of an animal, or we don't know where that animal's been? And we need to respond better to the diseases that we're not winning the battle on. So, the collaborative effort, I think, is key. We need to stay connected with industry. We need to work between state and federal partners and try to come up with a system at the end is better than where we're at today.